so lovely. I just wanted to keep listening to it.
Yeah, I don't blame
There's something about a live performance that you never
That's right.
you forget, especially in this age of Corona.
Yeah.
Welcome to the All the Books Show, the official podcast of the David A. Howe Public Library, where we talk book news, author news, and literary news. I'm Eric Michaels.
I'm Nick Gunning, and today, as is tradition, every time we record the episode that's going to pop on Eric's birthday, we have a special guest. So today we have Ben Layman with us. Ben.
That's why he's
Hello,
here.
everyone. Glad to be here. How's it going?
Good.
Happy
What's up?
Pre-birthday.
Yeah, thanks.
Now
it's just me and Ben like riffing. We're not even recording anymore.
Yeah, right. Were you surprised when that soothing live guitar started, Eric?
Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe Ben sent him a sweet, more coffee house, something a bit more Garden State.
Yeah, I liked it. I did.
Yeah.
It did.
I do have a more coffee house version of that theme song just tucked in my back pocket, just in case.
Yes, in case, yeah. And in case we ever do a live recording of this show in a coffee house.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Ben's there to play the music.
Ben, it's always
forever allowed in public again.
Yeah, right. Of course.
I mean, you won't be.
We always talk about, Ben, how much we love the music, and it's always fun when we're doing something that, like, if we get to use the Through the Ages theme or, like, the awards theme, it's always fun because those are the ones we get to hear, like, the least amount. So it's always like, yes, we get to play that theme we don't get to play very often. So exciting
Ben,
times.
can you play can you play, like, jazz drums? Because that'd be sweet if we were at the coffee house just doing it, and you're just in the back just like...
Oh, if only.
My son, I'm not making this up. My son genuinely loves the music for this podcast, and I'll just like hear him in his room, like reading or something, and he'll be like book, or he's just like humming the opening theme or something. Like for him, it's just like those are just theme songs too. Yeah,
that's the cutest.
Anyway, today, in Eric's been wanting to talk about books that we've given 1 star to, so that's going to be our topic today. We're pouring through all the books archives here to find some of the books that we read that just didn't work for us. So we're gonna be focusing on some 1-star reviews.
And it's quite maddening to see some of the 4-star reviews on these books.
I know. You have to kind of wonder. So it's interesting. Ben, you're prepared with some 1-star books, I assume?
Ooh.
I have a few, but here's the thing. Okay. I went through my entire Goodreads, and I discovered that there was literally one thing that I'd even ever gave 1 star to.
Okay.
And it wasn't
don't
even
tell us
something.
Yet, but okay.
Yeah, no. It's under wraps, but it wasn't even something that I finished. So like I think for me, like it's hard to just part of the reason that I love books so much is because it's something that you can do at your own pace kind of thing. And I have no qualms with just dropping something if I'm not enjoying it. The odds of, I don't know. I have a couple of 2 stars, but yeah, there
are not a lot of books that I have not finished.
Yeah.
So
it's really this job that I think has allowed me like the freedom to drop some books because I try to read the things that I like. I try to read the library book club books, and I try to read the things that are like the most popular things that everybody's talking about. And so I just don't have the luxury of committing to like, okay, another 300 pages of a book I despise. But so in recent years I've been able to do it, but every time it feels like a failure to stop a book in the middle. It's really hard for me to do.
Yeah.
But all of this gold is for the segment. We shouldn't be talking about this right now. Especially when we have another sick theme to hear live. Ben, let's do some bookmark.
Bookmark.
I love it. That one had a very Blue's Clues vibe to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It does in general.
Yeah, that's true.
I think we could say.
That's true. Here's the mail, it never fails.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ben, you're our guest. Do you want to tell us something that you've been reading lately?
I've been in somewhat of a book rut recently. I've had like 5 false starts on books in recent times. The library was the local library here was finally like, okay, you need to return the books that you've had for the past 5 months. So most recently, I just read on recommendation the children's book The Willoughbys, which I did enjoy, and then I just started The Goldfinch.
Oh, I love The Goldfinch.
I have all these grand plans of finally getting through some of my backlog. So I have 2 whole shelves of mostly books I haven't read, that all of which I own. So finally gonna try and crack through those. But yeah, I'm only a few chapters into the Goldfinch, but yeah, I'm actually like I'm in already.
Yeah,
like I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long haul. That book, I mean, I feel like that book is it's on like super thin pages and super small print, so it's even longer than it looks like. But
which, yeah. So I thought it was like some sort of an epistolary novel, and so I thought like, oh, it'll move briskly, that kind of thing. But then I opened it, and was like, oh, maybe not. Yeah. But the Willoughbys was a really, really quick read. Lois Lowry read it in 2 sittings, and it's really, really quite charming. So I would recommend that.
Okay.
Other than that, the last book probably that I finished before that was a YA book called Bone Gap by Laura Ruby. And I actually really enjoyed that.
That's a dark, kind of depressing read?
In some ways. There is definitely a darkness to it, but it had some magical realism elements that I was not expecting at all. And so it depends on whether or not you're into that kind of thing. I am, but like there are sections of the book that I feel like don't really make sense because it's magic. But I really enjoyed that one. I found it to be better written than a lot of YA books I've read recently.
Nice. Yeah, it's been, I mean, I hear you on the book drought. We've both been talking about how, like, it's just been hard to sit down and commit to anything. So I feel like I've read more, like, Star Trek, Star Wars, or, like, super light mysteries in the last, like, 6 months than I have, like, in my whole life combined.
Yeah, because when this first thing, when it all started, I wasn't binging or watching anything because I was like, I got stuff to do. I got time. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I don't know when the switch was. It was back when I was watching, like, 2 Criterion Channel movies a night, I guess, where my brain was just like, no, life sucks. Everything's terrible. Just sit on the couch.
Yeah.
Just sit on the couch and turn your brain off. Yeah, it hasn't translated into, like, a lot of reading.
Yeah. When it comes to sitting on the couch and turning your brain off, may I suggest Netflix's Unsolved Mysteries, which my wife and I just finished I think it's 6 episodes in this first volume. We had a great time with all of them. Like, they're engaging and they're interesting. And, it's like a one and done kind of thing. So, if you're not in the zone for like long-term storytelling, we had a good time with them. Those are on there now.
My wife watched through it. Yeah. And she was like, they're talking about Sheffield.
Yeah, one of them,
they're talking about the Berkshires where you lived. Yeah. And I was like, about what? And it was the bridge. And I'm like, oh, I used to walk over that bridge all the time.
As soon as that episode started, I was like texting Eric being like, wait a minute, do you know about this?
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't know about this thing, but like, it's just kind of funny because I'm like, oh yeah, that's where I would take the dog and we would walk over the bridge, or I would just go for a walk listening to her podcast or my iPod.
Yep.
Never really thought about that.
Yeah, well, you could have been abducted by aliens.
Could have.
What about you, Eric? What's on your list lately?
I mean, I'm still reading The Fires of Heaven, so I feel bad for longtime listeners because it's just me constantly saying I'm still reading The Fires of Heaven.
Sure.
Comic book wise, Aurora Before the Storm, which is a Storm origin comic. It was written as a Marvel Digest, kids focused, though maybe not even kids maybe a little bit older at the time as well, because it was kind of chasing a younger audience, a non-continuity based audience, and kind of like the manga audience as well, with a lot of their art and styling. This one is fun. It's not required reading, but it's a fun read, and it's also like it would be a fun book to read as a kid, I think. So yeah, anybody's looking for a kid's book about Storm. It focuses on Storm when she's a child and she's a thief in the streets of Cairo.
Okay.
And I also read Usagi Yojimbo Volume 26 by Stan Sakai. And I also read Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, at least the first 4 issues that are collected in this like 1989 hardcover trade that I was gifted by my wife either for her birthday or for Christmas. It's just, it's pulpy. They've got Cadillacs. It's the far future. Humanity's basically been wiped out, but they're still there. Technology's not really dead. Dinosaurs are back, but so are like prehistoric mammals. So sometimes there's mammoths and saber-tooth tigers. It's a good time.
Okay.
Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Sounds
or
fun.
Xenozoic, as it's sometimes called.
All right.
Yeah, those are what I read alongside some New Mutant comics that I'll talk more next time. And The Fires of Heaven.
Okay. I finished some random things. So we're pretty well stocked with the modern Archie comics over in the YA graphic novel section. And I just read the most recent volume that came out called Archie and Sabrina, which is by Nick Spencer and Mirko Tamaki. Mirko Tamaki wrote Being Super, a Supergirl graphic novel that I loved. But this was really good. I've been a fan of this series all along. I was a little on the fence when they were like rebooting it already, but it's 2 volumes in, and I'm still having a good time, so I can't complain.
Mm-hmm.
I read Captain's Daughter by Peter David. This is a Star Trek book that I checked out pre-corona and just now got around to reading. Pretty good. It tells the background on Sulu's daughter, a character that you only see briefly in Star Trek Generation. So it was kind of cool to fill in a spot in Star Trek that doesn't really get any play. It was kind of a neat
Generation. How old would she be in like Next Gen era?
Boy, that's a long gap. I mean,
okay,
100. I feel like
I never understand how long the gap is between last like Kirk story and Next Gen starting.
Yeah, it's a pretty wide gap there. But
right.
I mean,
100 years,
something like that.
And Scotty's still alive to be in an episode?
No, Scotty was trapped in a transporter buffer for like 70 years, and they like beam. Hey, you asked. I wasn't going to bring it up. Finally, I read a collection by A.A. Milne, best known for his Pooh stories. This was called When We Were Very Young and Now We Are 6. And it's put out there like it's Winnie the Pooh books 3 and 4. And it's really just 2 collections of poetry that only vaguely deal with Winnie the Pooh. For some reason, my son is on a huge Winnie the Pooh kick. And I think it's because I gave him a bunch of kids' records in my old record player, and I had some Winnie the Pooh records in there, and he's listened to those nonstop. I don't know why he's so transfixed by him, but he is. Yeah. So we listened to this as an audiobook. It's available on Overdrive. We listened to it in the car on a road trip, and we had a good time. It was just such a peaceful and pleasant collection of slow burn British wit and folksiness that it was nice. It was a peaceful way to pass the drive in the car.
I think my favorite Pooh book was number 2.
Have you actually read the Milne Pooh books?
No, that was a number
sorry.
2 is my favorite Pooh book.
Sorry, that was so lowbrow.
Incredibly tasteful.
That I was looking a whole flight of stairs above that joke, and I totally missed it.
Sorry.
That's all right. No, it's all right. Thanks for bringing us down. I'm currently reading Night and Day, which is a Jesse Stone book by Robert B. Parker. And I
starring Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise.
No, but I did like that movie, and I'll defend it. Finally, I got my copy of Camino Winds by John Grisham.
You did it!
I did it. This is the sequel to Camino Island that came out a couple years ago, and this is about a little place down in Florida that gets hit by a crazy hurricane, and while the hurricane's going on, a murder happens, so all the evidence is off. And it's good. I'm really liking it. Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you how that all goes in the end. But that's it for me as far as bookmark. Watching and reading. I already mentioned Unsolved Mysteries, so what are you gonna do?
I've been there, I guess.
Though we did after that, we just started The Innocent Man, which is a docuseries based on John Grisham's only nonfiction book of the same name.
Oh.
Interesting start. Darker than I was expecting it to be, but it's the first episode is pretty compelling. So that's what we're up to. Let's move on.
You know what docu-series I just started?
Is this another poop joke? Because I just don't think...
It was, but I won't do it now.
Oh, wow. I appreciate your restraint. Let's move into some book news, Ben.
Look into the future to see what it proves. It's time for book news.
That's yes.
It's a brand new.
Debuting.
Yeah,
Debuting.
That's sweet.
A new jingle. Wow.
Yeah.
Ben, I liked it. First of all, was that a ukulele you were on?
It was a ukulele.
Wow.
Jack of all trades. Told you I came prepared, after the...
You're probably going to laugh at this joke, but do you have like music that's available online if people want to go and like listen to your music?
Nope, I do not.
Just the All the Book Show.
I have a SoundCloud somewhere, but I do not post publicly.
I mean, in all sincerity, I feel like these are so good. They're all the themes you do. They're just so different and they're cool, and we really appreciate them. So thanks for doing that, and I'm excited to put a new one in the mix. What was the last edition? Bookmark, I guess, right?
Bookmark.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and
that sounds right.
See, Eric pulled a fast one on me there because he didn't tell me that you sent it to him, and it just started showing up in episodes.
Yeah.
So
it took him forever he was behind. So
I know, I was behind. Yeah, I was behind. So Eric kept waiting for me to say something, and finally I caught up to it and was like, hey! Okay, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to adding that in the future. I had a few things I wanted to mention book news-wise before we get into the New York Times bestseller list. Just 2 quick things. First, Apple has greenlit a series based on Lauren Buke's book, Shining Girls. It's set to star Elizabeth Moss, who's just coming off of Oh, the Margaret Atwood thing.
Invisible Man?
Well, yes, but I was thinking Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, yeah.
But so that's coming to Apple, Shining Girls, if you're a fan of that book. And also, HBO is turning Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me, which has already been a stage play. Now they're turning it into a TV special. So if you're a fan of that collection, that's going to be out there too. So you can keep an eye out for those things.
Trailer-wise, same services. Apple released a trailer for the Foundation series they're doing.
Oh, okay.
Based off of the Isaac Asimov series. I've read the first 3 of those books. I still need to read Foundation's Edge. The 4th one is the one that won the Hugo.
Yep.
I don't know what this will look like because that's a weird series, so we'll see. David S. Goyer is involved, so I don't have high hopes because he's not great. So
okay,
but I guess your mileage might vary on how much you enjoyed the movie Jumper.
Oh, like that Hayden Christensen thing?
Yes.
Oh boy,
yeah,
that was
not stellar.
For some of us who still care about past hurts, Blade Trinity.
Oh,
killed the franchise.
Yeah.
It's probably not all his
left
fault,
an impact on you as well.
Yeah, it sure did. So we'll see. But also, HBO released a trailer for their upcoming series of Lovecraft Country.
Okay.
Which was the book that I had read.
That was in the early days of this podcast.
It's dealing with like the Jim Crow America era of racial tensions with the Lovecraft kind of supernatural vibe, like haunted houses and spirits from the beyond and everything. It was good. I didn't realize what kind of book it was when I was starting because I thought it was just going to be one story, but it's a lot of like short stories that all kind of lead to an end. Like you're just reading all these different tales throughout.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's good. All right.
Well, hold on. Just in one more bit of, I mean, this is more sad news than book news, but the passing of John Lewis, a long time civil rights activist, right there really at the start of things, right, with Martin Luther King Jr. and, of course, serving in the House of Representatives for Georgia, just recently passed away. And his 3-volume autobiography, really in graphic novel form, March, volumes 1, 2, and 3, it's an exceptional piece of work. I mean, it really takes some truly horrific times and distills them in a way that I feel like the graphic novel format, the way that they utilize this, just the imagery and the muted colors and the kind of storytelling they're able to tell makes an already chilling story, I mean, just that much more real. And so if you haven't read these, we have them in our collection. And actually, at the start of the summer reading program, Kate and I purchased copies of these to give out to all the junior and teen participants in the summer reading program. So everybody got a free copy of March at the start of the summer reading program, and there are still some left. So if you have a kid, or if you happen to be a teenager listening to a library podcast, we applaud you. But stop in and sign up for the summer reading program. You can get a free copy of John Lewis's March, the first volume, and we of course have the rest in the system. But an excellent work. You've read these, Eric, right? Yeah,
they're good. You should definitely check them out, and they're definitely standard recommendations now.
Oh yeah.
For YA librarians in general. Now, when it comes to like graphic novels, they've joined the ranks of stuff like Mouse and Persepolis.
Absolutely.
In those types of easy to recommend autobiography graphics.
Absolutely. It really speaks to the power of the graphic novel format too, and the way it can bring different things out of a story, maybe a story that you've heard before, but seeing it in that way, I feel like these books are just very effective at conveying what they mean to convey. So hope you can check those out. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at the New York Times bestseller list.
Boop, boop, boop. All right, here we go. New York Times bestsellers list, the combined print and ebook fiction.
Hit me.
Number 10 is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, an artist that pens A Quiet Town Outside Cleveland. Number 9, The Guardians by John Grisham. Colin Post, a lawyer and Episcopal minister, antagonizes some ruthless killers when he takes on a wrongful conviction case. Number 8 is A Walk Along the Beach. It's brand new. It's by Debbie McCumber. After dealing with loss and setbacks, two sisters take risks on dreams and love. So that's good.
Yeah.
They didn't let the setbacks define them.
Sure.
So, number 7, Sex and Vanity by Kevin Kwan, a nod to A Room with a View, in which Lucy Tang Churchill is torn between her waspy billionaire fiancé and a privileged hunk born in Hong Kong. Again, Kevin Kwan, author of the Crazy Rich Asians series.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Number 6, The Guest List by Lucy Foley. A wedding between a TV star and a magazine publisher on an island off the coast of Ireland turns deadly. I think my wife just got a copy of this book.
Okay.
Number 5, Where the Crawdads Sing, is by Delia Owens in a quiet town on the North Carolina coast in 1969. And what young woman who survived alone in the marsh becomes a murder suspect? This must be the easiest thing for whoever makes this article.
Mm-hmm.
That they never have to change anything about
just
that.
Copy paste.
Oh, I had a Cool Ranch Dorito, and it's rough right now. Hold on.
Coming up.
Please don't brag about having Cool Ranch Doritos when you don't have any for me or Ben.
I'm sorry. Jerk. Number 4, 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrand. A relationship that started in 1993 between Mallory Blessing and Jake McLeod. McLeod comes to light while she is on her deathbed, and his wife runs for president.
Right? I remember that one.
One Island. Okay, again, did we already talk about this? We do the guest list on the island.
Right.
Then there were none situation. Yeah. But it's the 28 Summers.
Yes.
28 women, all named Summer.
Yes, we have. We have workshop that book, yes.
The Hunger Summers.
Yeah. Be good.
Number 3, The Vanishing Half. By Britt Bennett. The lives of twin sisters who run away from a southern black community at age 16 diverge as one returns and the other takes on a different racial identity, but their fates intertwine.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Look who's back here. Number 2, Peace Talks by Jim Butcher.
Oh.
The 16th book in the Dresden Files series.
Okay.
Chicago's only professional wizard tries to keep the peace during a summit of the supranational nations of the world.
Okay.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe I ought to give these Jim Butcher books a relook.
Yeah.
A relook? A look-see? A relook-see?
A first look. You abandoned the first book midway through.
You know, we were talking about books that we gave up halfway through. Yeah. That was it. But again...
This came up on the fantasy episode as well, because it was as close as I could get.
Yeah, again, I was just in a bad place at a bad time.
You were. It's not Jim Butcher's fault.
It's not his fault.
It's not Jim Butcher's fault.
Number 1, The Order by Daniel Silva. Oh, nope. By Danielle. Nope.
It's Daniel.
By Daniel.
He's a
Manuel. It was right the first time. By Daniel Silva.
Okay.
The 20th book in the Gabriel Allen series.
Wow.
The artist, storer, and spy cuts his family vacation short to investigate whether Pope Paul VII was murdered.
I'll tell you what, Daniel Silva is a dark horse in this race here for the New York Times bestseller list because I never think about him as somebody who's
and then he just shows up.
Yeah. It's just like, I wouldn't, like Baldacci, Patterson, Grisham, King, like all of those, sure, of course. Daniel Silva, I think of more as like something that you'd get like on a spinner rack in a pharmacy in paperback,
Mm-hmm.
But every time. So, good for you, Daniel Silva. Good for you. Hats off.
I mean, it helps that, it's what number did I say it was? 28 or something? 20th?
Yeah, it's a high number. Yep. Okay. Was that number 1?
That was number 1.
Okay.
He's number 1.
Oh, Ben, I should have asked you to prepare a 1-star book review special segment for a one-time use only. Can you just give me a little strumming real quick?
Let's see here.
Hit us with the A minor. Nice.
1-star reviews. Okay, let's do it. All right, so this was one that Eric and I have been kicking around for a couple weeks now. I feel like you just randomly texted me, like you sat bolt up in the middle of the night and just texted me 1-star reviews and then went right back.
You know what I was doing? I went on Goodreads and I was trying to find something about a book I had read, and I had mixed up my rating system.
Oh.
Or maybe that was it. I was like in my X-Men folder or something. I was looking at bad reviews or good reviews, and the thing had been set to ascending.
Oh.
So all my 1-star reviews were at the top, and I was like, oh, yeah. I hated these books.
Yep, that happens. So I went through and, Ben said he only had 1 that he legitimately put as a 1-star. I had a lot more, so I think I'm just a meaner person at my core than Ben.
1-stars are not something that I give out lightly. I'm more often to give out a 2-star, because at least I want to say, like, they put in the effort. But sometimes I just hate something so much.
I know. Yeah, I know. So, Eric, I just want to get off the bat 2 of them here. We don't have to talk about them a ton because I think you and I are going to agree on these. They're ones that we read while on the job. The first one, Artemis by Andy Weir.
Artemis is on my list.
Oh
Ben,
gosh.
Did you ever read The Martian?
I did not. I only saw the movie.
Oh, well, then you read The Martian.
Yeah, that's true. That is for sure.
That's kind of what I heard. So
yeah, I don't just. It's one or the other.
Well, Artemis is Andy Weir's like follow-up, not a sequel, just a new original story about. And this is the thing that it was sold as. It's a heist on the moon,
right? Which
sounds like an easy win.
Yeah,
it was absolute crap.
Yes, and again, every time this comes up, I have to remind everybody just how much I think we both, Eric, loved The Martian.
I'm so excited for this.
It's just The Martian is an excellent book. I mean, start to finish, I feel like that book is as close to flawless as you can get with that kind of thing. It's so much fun to read. It's such a good story. Artemis, if this were a situation where we had to say 3 nice things about Artemis, I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could even come up with one.
Because I'm glad there's no 3 nice things books edition.
I just thought this book was just a failure from start to finish. That's so mean, but it's true. That's how I felt.
My wife, she listened to it, and she also gave this a 1-star on Goodreads. So Kendra on Goodreads says, "Yeesh, if I had $1 for every time I cringed or rolled my eyes during this book, I'd be quite rich."
Yeah. Yeah, so, it's true, too, because it's also...
She's not a mean person.
She's not, no. This is written from a woman's perspective, unlike The Martian. And it's one of those books where it was like... I feel like every other chapter should be like, well, because I'm a woman, or like, as a woman, and I'm like, dude, just...
At one point, she says... at one point, the character Jazz says, "I giggled like a girl, but it's okay, because I am a girl."
Yes, that kind of
just
crap.
Like, who says this, period? This isn't not just how, like, a woman would speak. This isn't how a human would speak. Mm-hmm. So, yes, it was... And it turned out that the heist of this whole moon heist happened at like the 3rd of the book, and then it dealt with like the fallout. It was just really dull, and anything that you wanted that you enjoyed from The Martian was not there. All like I wanted like a hard sci-fi look at what it would be like to live on the moon, the same way he did with The Martian. Not like that at all. But then what he was offered is not appeasement at all. It was bad.
That's the thing. That's a real problem with it, because like it is supposed to be a sci-fi novel, it's supposed to be a heist novel, and it's supposed to be a character piece. And if it would have even nailed one of those, it might have squeaked by as being like, no, that wasn't very good, but I liked this one part. But no, it was a terrible sci-fi novel. Like you said, it didn't manage to get any of the technical stuff that The Martian got so easily and so fluently. Mm-hmm. The heist was terrible. I mean, it was like you said, it's a non-issue, and the characters were just horrible.
It felt rushed and it poorly planned, and also like maybe he's not that good of a writer. Maybe The Martian was a fluke. So whatever he's writing for book 3, he better improve.
Yeah.
So because this is not this was not good. Artemis was an unpleasant read, and one that I got tired of real early on, and I just kept trudging.
Me too. Well, it was a book club. It was a sci-fi book club pick, so we kind of had to read it. So that's one that we both share. And the second one that we both share that I would say is likely on both of our lists is The Institute by Stephen King.
Oh, you know what, though?
What?
I think I gave that baby a 2-star.
Did you?
I sure did.
Wow.
Because it had moments that I don't know, that I was like, okay, yeah, I give it a 2-star.
Yes, I mean, I agree with you in that I liked like the opening with the Night Knocker in the small town before we got into the Institute part of it. The prelude, I was kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm interested in this. But I just hated the body of this book so much that I couldn't... Are you familiar with this book at all, Ben?
No, only from what you guys have talked about. I mean,
we have a whole episode about this.
Yeah, it did come to mind, like, knowing that this was going to be talked about in this episode beforehand. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know anything about the book other than what
it's such a piece of cliched work where a bunch of kids are like in an institute and there's like these bad guys coming after them, and it is just laborious to get through. I hated it. I hated it.
You know what though? It did give, when we had to talk about it on this podcast, specifically on the New York Times bestsellers list, it did give me a lot of fun. Mr. Sinister from the X-Men rips.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate it for that. Maybe that's what the star came from.
Yeah, that's the extra star.
Those were fun for you. I remember that.
Genetics.
All right, Ben, you want to give us one of yours?
I'll just go with my 1-star. Probably the one that I don't maybe the most controversial, maybe. I don't know.
Okay,
the only 1 star I've given on Goodreads was to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the graphic novel, Alan Moore. Yeah.
Okay. You and Sean Connery both gave that one a thumbs down.
Just because it felt like it should have been a lot cooler than it was. And
sure did, right.
All these,
kidding.
Famous characters from literature banding together, but there's not really anything interesting done with these archetypes. There's some shadowy organization that's pulling the strings. It's nothing you haven't seen a million times before. There wasn't really anything to root for. Like, it just wasn't fun. And then finally I ended up dropping it because it just was downright uncomfortable. There's some pretty disturbing material.
Alan Moore comic.
Yep, you're not wrong. So yeah, I was pretty put off by that. The one merit I would say it has is that I did enjoy the art, but it wasn't enough.
He's not wrong. And the other thing about it too is that in the comic, and maybe this is just part of like the superhero reader of me, is that like the characters don't actually do anything that saves the day. It seems like everything fails and not be like whatever plan they're trying to stop fails, and not necessarily because they did anything. Because they're just like, it's the Invisible Man. It's, it's Alan Quartermain. So they don't really do anything. At one point, things are exploding and they're just in a balloon. I don't know. It's just, as bad as some people find the movie to be, the movie finds a lot of the fun in that concept. And maybe because it like superheroizes this story that Alan Moore didn't really mean to make it into a superhero story.
Yeah.
But when you pitch that concept, it is a little bit more exciting in the movie than in this.
Yeah, see, it's too bad because I love Alan Quartermain. His, H. Rider Haggard's Alan Quartermain stories, like King Solomon's Mine or Marie. Those are so good. And
he's so old in this.
I was disappointed to hear that this was bad. I'm seeing on Goodreads here that when Ben gave it 1 star, Eric, your response was, I doubt my 3 stars would survive a rereading of this.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
that's because I had read the sequel and gave that a 2 star, and I was just like, I don't like it. It was dealing with the War of the Worlds.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's not great, but people seem to really like it. Don't know what to say on that one. And it's funny, though, when Alan Moore complains about DC using his Watchmen characters and other things, he's like, I just wish they wouldn't use my characters. They're my characters and stuff. It's like, well, you wrote an entire book using other people's characters.
Yeah.
So, relax a little bit, Alan Moore.
Chill it out. All right, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
If I say that too loud, he'll cast a spell on me.
He might. All right, Eric, what's on your list? What do you got?
All right, here's a book that we did both read, Nick, and I know you didn't give this 1 star. I sure did. It's The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Weir.
Oh,
what a stupid book. I hated this character so much.
I heard a body fall into the ocean. I'm drunk.
Everything about it, I just didn't like the character at all, which I know, like, this genre doesn't create like likable leads because they're usually in this genre they have to have some sort of addiction and unpleasant personality. But like I remember just reading those 1 sentence things like, wait, what? Huh? Okay. The writing style drove me crazy. The mystery I found not involving, but then I'm not like a mystery reader. But like as much as I found The Girl on the Train unpleasant because of how dark it was, I didn't find The Woman in Cabin 10 to have any of that pathos or any of that darkness. It just felt like a cheap cash grab that was written very quickly, or maybe had been written years ago and was pulled out of the writing bin. I don't know. I didn't like it. I gave it 1 star. Woman in Cabin 10, more like The Woman in Cabin, 1 star.
Huh. I didn't see where you were going to go there, but okay. Yes, we made fun of this for so long when it was on the synopsis, and we did eventually do it for a book club in the library because we were doing a book club there where we were reading sort of all the hot mysteries that were coming out, and this was very much in the wake of The Girl on the Train and that sort of thing. And I think it's pretty inescapable that it feels like a lesser copy of that which The Girl on the Train did so well. I remember I gave this 3 stars, and not because I thought it was particularly good, but I felt like there was enough there that I at least wanted to know what was going on, and it was a quick read. So unlike Artemis or something like that, I was able to pound through this pretty easily. I find that Ruth Weir, I've read 3 of her books, and I find there always is a little bit of a looseness to keeping things together, where it's like you just have to sort of be okay with the premise. You know, you have to just be like, okay, all right, that's what we're doing, that I accept that and move on. And if you can't do that, I don't think you're going to like her books. My favorite of the ones I read of hers was The Lying Game. I thought, even though that has issues, I think it's the best that she has. But
it was so bad I wrote a full review on my blog about it. And like, I was mean. I took a picture of the actual chapter where it says, I held my breath, straining to hear. And then there was a splash. Not a small splash. No, this was a big splash. Right. The kind of splash made by a body hitting water.
Sure, that kind of splash.
And yeah, it was because I even wrote down the things like the whole, I could tell from the way the paragraphs would read, like, so, what? Oh, God. How? See, that's annoying. It tells you nothing while acting like it's intense. It's not intense. It's stupid. So is this. What? What? So I got a lot out when I wrote this blog. Anyway.
Sound like you really worked through something there.
My mean tagline was, I've said before I don't love mysteries, but this is just bad literature.
Wow.
Anyway, that's my review of Cabin 10. EricMickles.com. You can find some of my written
Hashtag shameless plug.
Okay.
And the blog again, ericmickles.com.
All right.
I'm just kidding, man.
Yeah.
All right. So when I was going through, I was trying to find things that, like, I was trying to be okay with the fact that I gave some pretty low reviews to some pretty highly acclaimed novels. So with that, may I present for your discussion The Corrections by Jonathan Franzen. So keep in mind that this was the winner of the National Book Award for Fiction and was nominated for the National Books Critics Circle Award and was an ALA Notable Book Selection and was in Oprah's Book Club, something that Franzen was very appalled by and requested that be removed. But this is a hard... Have you read this, Ben?
It's one of the books that I dropped. I got several chapters in, but yeah, it's very, very unpleasant.
Have you read any of Franzen's books?
No, I have not.
Let's just assume dropping the book is Ben's 1 star.
Yeah, I agree. I had read his book Freedom first, and I loved it. I thought it was so good. And I was just like, I just burned right through that. And The Corrections, had come out earlier and was much more like lauded, and everybody loved that book. So I was excited to read it, and we did it for a book club at the library. But this was just unpleasant is the perfect word for it, Ben. I mean, it is just... I just couldn't see it. I couldn't see what it was that people love so much about this book, because for me, I don't know if you'd call it satire, if it was meant to be. I think it was meant to be sort of a critique on societal norms and all that. But for me, I just felt like this is just unpleasant people doing unpleasant things, and I can't bear it. I just can't bear to continue. But I did push through because it was for a book club, and it was a divisive one. It was like half and half. People either loved it or they hated it, and it seems like that's the majority of the reviews too. But I really loved Freedom, and I really liked the book that came after this called Purity, by Franzen. But The Corrections for me was just one that was like, didn't like it at all.
Well, since Ben never finishes bad books, I'll talk about one that people seem to love that I hated, and that was Cormac McCarthy's The Road.
Oh, okay.
No, I guess it averages a little under 4 stars. The writing style is it's just written. There's no dialogue breakers or anything.
Okay.
So that seemed to really have annoyed me. But yeah, I did not like this book. I was kind of, I was real bummed by it, even.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know that anyone reads The Road for an uplifting experience.
No, but I just found it to be like...
You done got like Ben burned.
Oh, man. I found it as a slog to read. Like, it's just... I don't know what the journey was. Like, what... Other than, like, this father and son just living their day-to-day. And it's not even, like, interesting to day-to-day.
All right. Well, I haven't read it, so I can't refute you. I don't know. Have you read that one, Ben?
I have read The Road. And I...
Did you have a better
I can
opinion
find it now. Ben gave it 4 stars.
I did.
This is happening.
I did read it for a class, which probably skews my perspective a little bit. But yeah, no, I mean, I also like all of the post-apocalyptic media I've generally seen in movies. Like I've not really read a book quite like that. And And yeah, I mean, I found that the way there's no dialogue breaks helps it move a little bit more quickly. It's definitely it's definitely a trudge, but intentionally so. I definitely understand Eric's criticisms for sure. Like, there's no way to like get through that book and then be like, oh yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. Like, I don't know. I'd have to think about it a little more, but. Yeah, you're just, searching for any sort of meaning when there might not necessarily be any. And I guess, yeah, that's definitely not for everyone.
And this has been Point Counterpoint on the All the Book Show.
Crossfire. I guess, yeah, I'll go with a book that I don't think is on my Goodreads. I did finish it. It's kind of low-hanging fruit, but I've read this book when I was in 8th grade, and it was kind of one of the first times that I read something and was like, this is bad. This is poorly written. This is a bad book. And it is called The Europa Conspiracy by Tim LaHaye and Bob Phillips. Tim LaHaye, of course, of Left Behind
Left
fame.
Behind, which Eric and I book clubbed the first in that book many years ago.
Yeah. I was never did that when I crashed a really nice car.
Never got around that to book 2.
Yeah, well, this is book 3 of a series, which means that I read 1 and 2 and was okay enough with it to read the 3rd one.
Wow.
And it just, I honestly, I couldn't tell you that much about it at this point. The main character is cast as kind of a Christian version of Indiana Jones, where he's like searching for biblical artifacts to prove that the Bible is true. And there's, again, a shadowy organization called the Seven. And there's a villain called Talon, who has a prosthetic finger that he kills people with.
Wait, the villain?
Right, well, now I'm in.
The villain is called the Seven?
No, there's a shadowy organization called the Seven. That's like they're the ones. I forgot about that part. They're the ones that they're pushing for this like one world government. Very familiar territory for Left Behind readers. Yeah. But like one world government, one currency, all that kind of thing.
Huh. It's confusing because, like, biblically, 7 is like the perfect number. 7 is like the God number. So it's interesting that they would use the 7 as like the villain.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Right. I don't know what. So yeah. Anyway, like this, this book. Towards the end, there is this like cliffhanger type scene where it very clearly, at least to me as an 8th grader, was like, oh, this one likable character has tried to save everyone and perishes. And then in the very next page, he's just like there and everyone's fine with it. And like, I did not understand.
Didn't work.
Like, that was my confrontation with writing that. It made no sense. So I'm sure if not that I would ever choose to, but I'm sure if I went back and looked through the others, there'd be some pretty choice gems of terrible, terrible writing.
Now look, I'm not one to tell you that you have to read more bad books, but it's a 4-book series, and you've read the first 3. I just don't know if I could sit with that. I think you might have to read The Edge of Darkness.
See, until today, I was trying to remember. I was trying to jog my memory, and I went back and I looked, and I didn't even know that there was another one after this. Yeah, so I guess now I do have to.
You do have to. I'm sorry, but you do have to. Thanks for sharing.
No problem. Maybe that 4th book will be my get out of book rep card.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe you'll get. What if it changes the whole thing? It puts 3 in a new perspective, and you're like, wait a minute, it was brilliant.
And I got Feed, and if I don't mention Feed by Maria Grant, I've done myself a disservice.
Okay. All right.
It's a zombie book, year 2014. We cured cancer. We beat the cold. It's a zombie book, whatever. Zombies are out there, but it's maybe we've taken care of the zombies. There's a guy on a political trail. Guess who are the heroes? Guess who are their heroes in this book?
Who?
The heroes are bloggers.
Oh,
that's right. Because I know I just quoted my own blog, but never once have I written my blog being like, wow, I can't wait till I save the world by blogging. But these people
I wrote a pretty good review of the Stephen King Drew Barrymore film Firestarter, and I want to say it did put some good back into the world. So
this book came out in 2010, so like Maria Grant is definitely chasing the blog thing that happened right before the podcast thing made blogs not a thing.
Yeah,
and
2010
Twitter became
is a bit of a dead zone for blogs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
these characters are on the characters are on this campaign trail with this person running for president. They're bloggers because people trust bloggers because they're unaffiliated, and they were telling the truth about the zombie problem at the beginning.
Sure.
And so now they're the ones going on this trail, and they're the heroes, and it just feels so. Oh, she's just trying to make actual bloggers read this book, and like she's just force feeding them this like, you're good, what you do is important, you're smart, this is great, wonderful. It's so demeaning in ways that she's not trying to make it do, because it's just it's boring AF. 600 pages. 600 pages of just a campaign trail with blog. I thought this was going to be cool. I thought it was going to be like a fun. I read this for Halloween. I finished it October 30th.
I remember. Yeah, I remember this time.
And I don't know if I fully finished it. I just remember being in my car being like, this won't end. This won't ever end.
Halloween. It ruined Halloween for you.
Almost. Gosh.
You know, your bloggers writing for bloggers does remind me of a frequent criticism that we've voiced over the years, that oftentimes it feels like books angling for an award are written a little bit so that librarians are like, yeah, you know what? I am a superhero. And that always irritates me too.
This was a blogger writing for bloggers.
Yeah.
And it was not good. I hated it. I think my review on Goodreads ends with, I feel cheated out of a zombie book.
Yikes. Happy Halloween.
So, however, I read her book Parasite that came out in 2013, and it was nominated for Hugo, I believe, and that's why I had read it. But I felt like it wasn't YA, but it felt like if Michael Crichton was writing a book for YA, which I guess is a bit of a critique, but also I felt like was kind of a compliment when I thought of it.
Okay.
I enjoyed, for the most part, Parasite by Maria Grant, but Feed made me give up hope in humanity.
Okay.
So all right. I was like, this is what we're writing. And comic book wise...
Oh, I didn't even count comic books.
I won't. I haven't given too many, but comic book wise, Bruce Jones' Hulk run ended on 1-star notes, and as did Chuck Austin's Uncanny X-Men series, which I had been reading by the issue when it was coming out. So I remember that crap. And also Jurassic Park Redemption, because I hated the art is horrible. Writing is stupid. It made me so angry.
Yeah, that's a rough read. You're right. Ben, do you have any more that you want to share?
Yeah, I'll do just one more.
Okay. let me pound through my lightning round then, and I'll turn it over to
I have some plays. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I won't talk about
them. It's a real pile-on.
Sam Shepard's Fool for Love and Other Plays. I hated. I was in this mood where I was looking for cool plays. Hated it.
He played Doc Porter in Crimes of the Heart, and so did you, Eric. You guys are connected.
I know. Well, his collection of plays, I hated.
Wow.
Visit to a Small Planet by Gore Vidal. It's a play. Hated it. It was trying to be funny. I don't know. It was written in 1956. Huh. If this was humor in 1956, then we should not be trying to recreate the 50s America. Read Visit to a Small Planet, and this is what you're trying to recreate.
Very true. Yeah.
And then The Tempest by William Shakespeare.
Wow.
And now I'm done. Oh wait,
God.
Joanne Fluke's Christmas Cake Murder, but we did a whole episode on that.
Okay, this is. I'm going to save one more to talk about, and I'm going to give you my lightning round. Okay, here they are. Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. Terrible. Ugly book that was really just like, look at how much we can torture these characters. Look at the anguish these characters are going through. Isn't this deep? No, it's trashy, Karen Slaughter. Santa Cruz, a holiday mystery by Mary Higgins Clark and Carol Higgins Clark, but mostly by Carol Higgins Clark. Hey, Mom, let's get all of our recurring characters together on a cruise ship and have a terrible time for Christmas. Horrible book. Finally, The Maze Runner by James Dasher. And let me tell you, I've read a lot of these type of books and liked them all. City of Ember, anything by Suzanne Collins. Like, I've read a lot of these kind of books and usually like them. But The Maze Runner, with all their made-up language and their nonsensical plot that never moves forward. Terrible book. I hated it. That's my lightning round. Ben, take it away.
Sure. I just
that last one, that Maze Runner one, it's probably my you're the road or something, because people love the Maze Runner.
Hate it.
And it's still one that like kids just come in and asking for it. Like it's now just one of those that like kids are just constantly coming in. Like, I've been reading something, I want to read the Maze Runner now.
Yeah, the thing with Maze Runner, nothing happens in that first book. Like, it's just, there's no progression, and the constant, like, made-up slang that they have is just, it's like being buried alive reading that book.
I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the movie Maze Runner one.
Yeah, I like the movie, too. The movie's fine, but that book, The
second movie was like, hey, what's a cool scene from the Lost World, Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Can we steal it 100%? Sure.
And then by the end of the Maze Runner movie series, though, it's like, it's unrecognizable. I don't even know what's happening anymore. It's become a totally different thing.
Car.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, I'm sorry. I'm done interrupting. I'm going to have a Dorito and be quiet.
No, it's okay. I just have one more. I actually did give it 2 stars on Goodreads, but I feel like in retrospect, I would definitely give it 1.
Oh,
I don't know.
A demotion. Okay.
Yeah. It is the only book I've ever purchased in an airport bookshop, and it is.
Oh,
boy, Eric, hold on. I know we're not supposed to interrupt Ben anymore. Eric, that is a perfect topic. Books purchased on airports or
for you, but I've only ever bought 1.
Huh. I can see this beautiful segment just falling apart before my eyes.
I'm sorry. It was Next by Michael Crichton, and that was the only time I ever bought a book on an airport.
Great. Now we ruined that one too. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ben.
Well, this book is One Day by David Nichols. It did receive a film adaptation, but the basic premise is that it follows 2 characters over the course of 20 years, but only focusing on one day a year, the 15th of July, which is St. Swithin's Day. And it's just the development of their relationship over 20 years. I don't know. I didn't find the characters particularly charming. I wanted kind of like a light read, and it's just very the forced structure of it makes it super clumsy. And I don't know. I found it pretty soap opera-ish, and it's this whole like will they, won't they, like for hundreds of pages, and then. I'm going to spoil this book if you don't know about it.
Okay.
So if you're interested in reading or watching One Day, this is going to be a major spoiler. After 20 years... Spoilers! After 20 years, they finally get together. And then Emma, the female protagonist, gets hit by a bus. And that's the book.
Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez.
So it's just like hundreds of pages of melodrama, and then it was not great. So that's all. One day, 1 star.
All right.
1 star for One Day.
One Day, the movie, did not fare well. It has a 36% on Rotten Tomato, and it says, despite some fresh narrative twist, One Day lacks emotion, depth, or insight of its best-selling source material. So this movie review thinks the book is better, starring Anne Hathaway.
Well, and I read some like review blurbs, and somebody was, critically lauding the book, like saying it was a super great example of British social satire. So like maybe there's something that I'm not like, maybe I'm just not socially conscious that way, and there's something I'm missing. But I did not enjoy it.
Well, my final here is another one that we did for a library book club. So maybe that's the problem.
It most definitely is.
Okay. And that is The Circle by Dave Eggers. So it's the only book by Dave Eggers that I've ever read. So I don't want to like condemn Dave Eggers, the author, because I have seen the movie The Hologram for the King, which I thought was great. I loved it, and I actually really wanted to read that book, and I also wanted to read Monk of Mocha. He's got a lot of stuff that looks really intriguing to me. The problem for me with this book, and there was a movie with Tom Hanks and Emma Watson as well. Mm-hmm. This book is sort of like a Google-esque company, or like a googly Facebooky kind of company, and like an intern that comes in and sort of realizes like there's no such thing as privacy, and it's just, to me, like if this book had been written in like 1987, it would have been like this really prescient piece of fiction that is looking forward to something that like could one day happen. But this was like, we know this happened 10 years ago, like we know what you're not exposing anything. You know, so to me it was just like, maybe for like people who don't know that, like maybe an older crowd who is like not good online might be like, oh,
I'm sure, yeah.
But like reading this book, I just kept like looking back to the title page, being like, when was this written? Because it's written like speculative fiction, but it's actually just nonfiction, like now, And that maybe would have been okay if the author had something to say about that. But I feel like the whole thing was just going for sort of a shock value, like this could happen in the near future. And it just seemed really, really tone deaf and out of touch with like what's actually happening. And it's not to say that the things that it talks about aren't like dangerous and worth considering. It's just that's not speculative fiction. You know what I mean? That's just the world that we live in. So like, Yeah,
no. The movie had all the same critiques. Like everybody was like, when is this movie for?
Exactly.
Like, did the people working on this not see The Social Network? Like, what weird person is like, guys, social media.
Yeah.
Be careful.
I know. That's it. Listen, that's not it. I have a lot more 1-star reviews in here, but that's going to have to do it for this time, because now we can come back. Ben, you're going to have to go and hate some more books so that next time we talk about
I will
this,
give it a shot.
More, so.
Maybe
Brian Michael Bendis' Secret War was absolute garbage.
Ben, I really do think, and you're outvoted on this, that I think you do have to read The Edge of Darkness, book 4 of Tim LaHaye's Babylon Rising. I just think you owe it to yourself, and frankly, you owe it to Tim LaHaye and Bob Phillips, I think, to finish that out.
Mm-hmm. I'll give it a shot. I'll see if I can the library loan it or something.
I think you probably should give that a shot. Eric, exciting birthday plans in the time of the Rona? Anything in the works?
I don't want to do anything.
Understood.
I don't want to go anywhere. Obviously, where I could go is limited anyways, but no, I don't want to do a dang thing.
Okay.
Which probably isn't a great example of my mental state these days.
No.
That on my 34th birthday, I'm just like, don't do anything. Can we just stay home and not do anything?
You said 34 like it was a milestone, and it's not. And secondly, I feel like most 34-year-olds are just sort of be like, whatever, it's my birthday.
Oh,
so
well, maybe
you're just catching up to the rest of us.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it's not a harbinger of doom.
No, I don't have any plans. If Kendra has any plans, I am unaware of them.
Okay.
There were things I would have wanted to do. In fact, I was supposed to have gone to see Matchbox 20 and the Wallflowers do a joint concert for my birthday. I mean, they weren't doing it for my birthday, but it felt
when
like
you
it was
said
for
that,
my
it
birthday.
sounded like we got together and hired those two bands to do a concert for them. We didn't.
No, it didn't work out because of so I guess if that's the worst I have to deal with right now, but still, nothing planned. I don't know. Maybe I really want some chocolate cake, I guess. I just like chocolate cake.
Yeah.
I haven't had a good, just like straight up chocolate cake. Like for a good chocolate cake, it needs people are going to hate this, but it needs to be a really moist chocolate cake.
Mm-hmm. I think the unwillingness to hear the word moist, I think that goes out the window when talking about cake, because you do need that. You need it.
I think needed. Other cakes can get away with it, but a chocolate cake with a really good chocolate frosting, nobody wants a dry chocolate cake.
No.
You want it to be moist.
You do. You need it.
And that's it. Also, Daredevil End of Days by Brian Michael Bendis, Avengers the Children Crusade by Alan Heinberg, and Year 1 Batman Ra's al Ghul all get 1 star.
Wow. Okay. Any Justice League book from Rebirth gets 1 star, but that's it.
Snap!
We gotta cut it. We gotta cut it there.
All right.
Ben,
Alan Grant's Batman Anarchy. I hated it.
Oh. Okay. All right. Well, Ben, thank you for continuing the tradition of joining us for the Eric birthday episode.
Wow.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me.
Eric
was a little surprised.
You were surprised, weren't you, Eric?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. See, there you go. Remember, for Library News, we're winding down on the summer reading program. We do have a special Star Trek book club, and really just kind of a Star Trek hang that we're going to do out on the front lawn, which sounds super cool, I know. But we're reading the book Dark Mirror by Diane Duane, and we're gonna do the book club outside with snacks. And if you haven't read the book but want to just come and like chat about Star Trek with us, join us. That's August 18th.
Star Trek hang.
Yep. And of course, curbside's still going on at the library, so put your requests in any way you want. Pick them up at the auditorium entrance. That's all been going really well. We've seen a lot of stuff coming through there, so it's exciting to be able to do that while we can. So I hope you're taking advantage of that. But other than that, I think this is going to be a wrap on the Eric birthday episode for this year on the All the Book Show. Ben, you want to take us out?
Sure.